everybody. This is Dr. Meaghan.
And I'm Dr. Heidi.
From One Agora Integrative Health. And today we wanted to come on and talk about hormones and hormone testing. This is actually a question we get a lot because we do a lot of hormone programs with patients, from everything from fertility to menopause to women who have problems with PMS, PCOS, and just want better hormone balance. The other thing we're seeing a lot lately, women that don't want to go on birth control, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Lots of young women, especially because of TikTok, are learning that maybe it's not great to be on, birth control for 10, 20 years. And they want to really get control of their hormones. And so that's definitely something we do, something we both are very passionate about. And really, though, to be able to improve hormones, the best thing and the first step is always that we have to really assess it. And that's what we really want to talk about today, is how can we get a good assessment for hormones. What you'll probably realize if you've ever been to an OBGYN and asked, can I have my hormones assessed? They look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah. Or they say, we'll test a few things in your blood.
Right. Yeah. We'll test a few things, or let's just put you on birth control and you'll be fine.
Yes.
And there are great alternatives and ways to really get an idea of what's going on with your hormones. Blood is not a great way.
No.
Blood is bound up hormones, and so we don't get a great idea of what's getting to the cell. So one of the first ways that we test, and that both myself and Dr. Heidi use a lot, is a saliva test.
Yes. So saliva testing is more checking the active hormones. So saliva is more of filtered blood cells. So it's going to tell you how your body and cells are using those hormones. And then also it gives us a good view of your adrenals with your cortisol, because we can take different times during the day, not just that one time of the day that the blood work is going to show.
And that's so important for the adrenals. And so I use a lot of salivary. I used to use it a lot, and it was my go-to way of testing. But the other way that we can test is urine. And so urine is going to be the byproduct. So we can actually then see not only the hormones and hormone levels, but we can see all of the pathways, which is so important, and put together the big picture of what's going on with where your hormone levels are at and what's interfering with them. The reason I used to not use it a lot is because for urine, we used to have to get a 24-hour urine. So people would have to carry around jugs, and we wouldn't get cortisol. Like, we'd get sort of a one-time overview of cortisol, but not that 4-point cortisol that's so important for the stress response that plays a role with hormones. So now we use what I think is just the gold standard of hormone testing, and the one that I love, which is the Dutch test.
And it is actually a pretty easy test to do. I honestly tell my patients, it looks like a lot, but you just read through the instructions. And I actually did it on a day where I was even super stressed out and I was so busy, and I still made it happen. I actually had to do one of these pee strips in a public bathroom, and it was totally fine. So yeah, you can do it at any time. And they do particularly want you to do it on a certain day of your cycle. So you just have to track that. And if you don't have a cycle, then the lab really helps you with determining when to take it as well.
Yeah, so it's really become the gold standard of hormone testing. And the difference here is that, the reason why a lot of times traditional medicine will say that they don't test or look at hormones is because they don't have the right tools. They don't use these tools. They use blood, which is just really completely useless. It doesn't really give us a good picture.
And they don't oftentimes tell you how to prevent certain things, but also how to go about detoxing the toxic hormones that they're prescribing. So this test really helps to tell you how you can detox and how your detox pathways are working as well.
And so especially for the younger women and the majority of women that we use Dutch, what I'm going to do now is we're going to actually go through in the second part of the video and just show you an anonymous Dutch test, and go through and show you what information we get so you can see how amazing it is. And then if you guys are interested in learning more about your hormones, definitely call the office, look at our website, and schedule an appointment, because this is definitely something that Heidi and I have not only done a lot, but are just incredibly passionate about, helping women feel optimal and balance their hormones.
Yes, definitely.
So here's an overview of the Dutch test, and you can see it's going to look at your estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone levels, but it also gives us a great view of your adrenals and those cortisol levels. So when we look closer at this page, which is the progesterone, DHEA, testosterone, and estrogen, you can see that it's going to break down the estrogens, and that's so important so we can look at detoxification and methylation. And then it also does look closely at your adrenals. So you can see that we're getting 4 points on the adrenals to really see how the stress response is in somebody, which is so important when we're talking about hormones. And you can see that this person's is a little bit low. And then the final thing that it also does, which is great, is it gives us all these other markers that really go into hormones. And so it's just very, very comprehensive.